Greetings and welcome back to Doctor Who Revisited, where I go through every single episode of Doctor Who from 1963 all the way to 2023 and review them. And now we are on the second episode of Tom Baker as the fourth Doctor, The Ark in Space. Oh boy, this season is very special. And I know I very stupidly, a couple of episodes ago on this series, said that I can't remember much in the classic series that they did something like they did with the Third Doctor, where he tried for several episodes straight to get to Metabolus 3, finally achieved it at the season finale, came back with something that became much more important in the next season finale. So, yeah, I completely somehow forgot about the structure of this season. More on that later. But before that, the episode we got is great. I mean, this is just one of the highlights. And as much as I love the Verity Lambert era, much as I love the Barry Letts era, the Philip Hinchcliffe area, I think, is the boldest that Doctor Who has ever gotten up until this point. Up until this point. Let's not get into some of the modern stuff, but the Philip Hinchcliffe era is amazing because we got stuff like this episode and this whole season. But like I said, I'll expand more on the season in a bit. But so, first time that we get to see the Doctor and his companions travel somewhere, this Doctor in particular, what do we get? A human beacon on the edge of Earth 10,000 years from now after a great cataclysm struck Earth. And just these people essentially build an ark, a Noah's Ark, very on the nose. They even named one of the characters Noah, or rather nicknamed him Noah because of Noah's Ark. And so they built a giant space ark to preserve humanity after the cataclysm. Not something we haven't seen before, even in Doctor Who terms, in the amazing episode The Ark, but this time we get to see it on a much bigger scale, and it really does follow that trendy look of the polished spaceship. Everything looks so futuristic and white and clean. And oh look, an alien home invasion in this space station, and what an alien it is, the Wirren. Okay, so a couple of things about the Wirren. Great concept, great idea, perfect, perfectly terrifying, and very unique, and also building up on some stuff, building up on some real world stuff, like these creatures that just infect you by touching you, and very slowly they're turning you into one of them, and that's how they reproduce. Essentially, that's how they multiply and breed all across the world. And if they, and in later media they expanded upon it to say that if they sort of imprint on lesser species, they get the lesser intelligence. If they imprint on superior beings like humans or even Time Lords, at times they can basically also inherit all of their unique traits, like the human intelligence, like the human ability to speak. And imagine if one of those things actually infected the Doctor, or I can't remember what the word they used to describe it, but essentially lay their eggs, or rather infect the Doctor with one of them. Imagine a Time Lord Wirren. Wirrens with the ability to regenerate. Imagine a Zygon Wirren, or Wirren with the ability to shapeshift. Like, there's no limit to the damage that these aliens can do. It's kind of a shame that we never got to see them again on this TV show. Luckily, other Doctor Who media have expanded upon that greatly, but that kind of brings me to the negative. And the negative is kind of imprinted in their design. Now, first of all, I love their heads and the multiple arms, and they look scary, they look terrifying. Until they turn around and you realize that this really great insectoid design is just slapped on top of um a male body part. Let's put it that way. So yeah, that could have been done a little bit better. Not to mention, the transformation phase in the grub or the area, the grub phase of them, where it's very clearly and obviously just bubble wrap spray painted green. But hey, that's Doctor Who. That's Doctor Who visual effects at its finest. And I know that it's one of those episodes that repeatedly got the flack for that. It's one of those episodes that really get falls into that stigma of the Doctor Who bad effects. But you know what? As I've already stated, the rest of the design, ignoring the male body part thing, is really good. Very well done. Very well crafted. And you know what? The concept, the idea of the Wirren in and of themselves is so good that it transcends those big major flaws such as the green spray painted bubble wrap. But that's really kind of the beauty of Doctor Who. Sometimes the idea is so good that you're allowing yourself to forgive the way that some of these visual effects look like. Other than that, though, there kind of isn't much I can say and want to say about this episode. Again, like I said, the set design looks really good for its time, obviously. The idea of the Doctor and Harry basically dissecting that dead Wirren from the beginning of the episode to figure out how it works and what makes the species tick, if you'll pardon the word, pardon the pun, and just the plan, and the some of the fight scenes with the Wirren. Again, cheesy effects being what they are, and the visual effects of the electricity and the laser and whatnot, they are what they are. I think in this case, the sound design of some of those weapons are so good that you're willing to forgive the way some of these fight scenes are being handled. Just very clear, they're holding a plastic gun and just uh, uh, and all these visual effects and sound effects are being added on after the fact. But despite all that, I think there's some really good fight scenes, and I think I said this in the previous episode. You got to use your imagination, and you're gonna have to do that a lot with the Tom Baker era, because I think we're really kind of noticing the transition from the much more practical era of Doctor Who with the John Pertwee, Barry Letts era, transitioning into the much more imaginative, much more space fantasy aesthetic of the Philip Hinchcliffe, Tom Baker era, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I love that. Even though we kind of did get to see the John Pertwee travel in space and time in the TARDIS a little bit, it's nice that from now on, aside from a few minor occasions, we're gonna go back to basics. Essentially, we get all of time and space. We're gonna see history. We're gonna see different planets, different points in Earth's history. We're gonna see a lot of space aliens, and all that in between. And yeah, this episode is really the first to put a stamp on that. And yes, we did get to see Paladon again and Exelon with the Third Doctor, and of course Metabulus 3 again. But I think this season is really putting a stamp on it that, oh yeah, you liked all this space stuff that we had years and years ago before the John Pertwee era. We're gonna get it, and you're gonna love it. And I really do like that. And to summarize what I just said, with how the episode ends, we don't get that traditional ending of the Doctor and friends just going back in the TARDIS and flying away to a different place. No. The episode ends, or rather the serial, I should say, ends with the Doctor and friends beaming down to Earth to help with rebuilding of the Earth after the solar flares. And, to be continued. And that's where the next serial is going to be. And I love that. Basically, but aside from just a robot, which was the your standard unit story, every single episode in this season, basically, it's like a different adventure without having to use the TARDIS. So like the Doctor and friends don't come back to the TARDIS until the very end of the season. In between, they just jump around all these different places, and I love it. I wish more seasons in Doctor Who would do that. And as much as I love the TARDIS, don't get me wrong. I mean, I love the different space travel with the TARDIS, but I just love that this season really does feel like a big major arc spread out across several different serials, and they feel all in some ways connected to one another, without being necessarily jumping from one to the other. And I love it, and I can't wait to talk about the next one. So why don't I just wrap this up and get to talking about that one. So thank you for watching if you have, and until the next one, have a jelly baby, will you? Hi there! Thank you for watching the video. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and tell your friends. I'll see you next time.